Okay, hello everybody, Baruch Hashem. Here we are in the first Shabbat of the year. We are between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim, the days that are called Aser Dimei Teshuvah. We all know that these days were asked from Avraham Avinu after passing the 10 tests that he had. Hashem asked him, this is Shat Ratzon. This is a time of Ratzon that I'm going to listen to all your tefillot. What do you want to ask after the Akedah that we read on the secondary day of Rosh Hashanah? Avraham Avinu asked Hashem, please give my children for all generations 10 days of Teshuvah, and these 10 days, listen to their tefillah, be very close to them, and then the 10th day, since the 10th test of bringing Yitzchak Avinu to the Akedah was the hardest one, please make that day into a Yom Kippur and Yom of Slicha v'Kapara. With that introduction, we have to understand that these days, every day is a Lauder day, meaning that each day that's passing by, today is already Thursday, but we still have a few more days, especially Shabbat Shuvah, this Shabbat. If a person takes the Shabbat seriously, more seriously, less talk on the table about Sleepy Joe or, whatever mundane matters that are not so important to you and me. More Divrei Torah, more Shirim on Shabbat. If a person has a hard time in the past to keeping Shabbat, this Shabbat, Hashem is going to give him extra siyata d'shmaya, extra help from upstairs. If he really wants to do it, so everybody give a extra push this Shabbat to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we're serious, and that's going to be a huge zechut going into Yom Kippur, B'ezrat Hashem, and for a great year. There's a 3 points we want to talk about today. The first point is, that we all know, as a pasuk in Navi Isaiah Yeshayahu, Dirshu Hashem be'ematzo kar'uhu be'oto karov. A person should go and ask for Hashem, talk to Hashem, and have tefillah to Hashem all the days of the year, but especially the days that is closest to us the most. And of course, like we just said, these are the 10 days that are between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The climax being coming, of course, on Yom Kippur. Now, our sages give us a mashal, a parable, that how a person, if he does not take these 10 days seriously, how much he's going to lose that, and how much he's going to lose out. He's actually going to get chas v'shalom punished if he doesn't use these days. The parable that goes as follows. There was once a king who was a king of a lot of medinot, a lot of countries, and everybody was serving under him. And there was one person, one of his avadim, one of his slaves, that wanted to rebel. And the king was a very good king. He was good to all his subjects. But this Eved, he was kafur tova. He didn't have any gratitude to the king, so he decided to talk against the king in public, do things that are, if a king finds out about it, could be, chop off with his head. But the king was very a righteous king. He wanted to give this guy, a slave, a chance. He sent a summons to the house. You have 30 days to prepare yourself to come to judgment. So for these 30 days, of course, this Eved, the slave, did not do anything. He didn't go and get a good lawyer. He didn't try to work his defense. He wasted it. The day came that they came. They asked him, why aren't you going to the court? He's like, I don't want to go to court. So they came and they dragged him out, obviously. This very haughty person. He comes to the palace. The king is sitting down on his throne. All the ministers left and right. All the people, the important people, are looking at him. And he comes in front of the king, and the king is looking at him, hoping that the slave will have some kind of being humble, show some kind of remorse. But wait, as he did, the slave didn't do no reaction. Is like a stone, hard as a stone. He's not doing anything. So the king starts hearing noises around him, off with his head. Such a haughty person is not to the honor of the king. The king should kill him. But the king, who was very righteous, he gave him another chance. He told all the ministers to calm down, and the king himself got up from his seat. The king, with all his honor, got up from his seat and started walking towards the slave. pathetic excuses left for his life. He's not doing anything. He's not coming forward. But the king, being so humble and so righteous, he goes. Everybody's like saying, "Oh, how could this be? The honorable king." But he puts his hands to the right and left. Said, "Calm down, calm down. I want to give him one more chance." He gets to the slave. He looks at him in the eyes, and the eyes of the slaves are looking into the eyes of the king. And the king is hoping one last chance. No emotions. The guy is made out of stone. So finally the king puts out his hand, stretches out his hand to give him one more chance. And the slave turns his back to the king and walks away. And the hand that was stretched out to him in mercy became a fist. That's the parable. We know that this obviously refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the king, how in these 10 days he comes in front of every Jew, like we say in Shir HaShirim. Yonati Ra'ati Achoti Tamati. He's banging on the door, open a petach. Give me a room, some kind of a small as a needle's hole. Let me in. Banging our hearts to banging, stretching out his hand. And if the guy does not want to do teshuvah, unfortunately, the outstretched hand becomes a fist, and midat mercy, the attribute of mercy, will take this guy to judgment and give him what he deserves. So obviously, chas v'shalom, the Jews know when an opportunity comes like this, they're not going to be wasted. We're going to actually take Hashem's hands, as it were, and say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, we want to come back, but please come and take us back with mercy and rachamim like you are, and B'ezrat Hashem will be successful. That's number one. Number two, we want to talk about, okay, great. So now that we know that we should do teshuvah, how should we do this teshuvah? We all know in the Sidurim of Rosh Hashanah, we saw there's a kol, mamon, and som. Yeah? Kol is tefillah, som is ta'anit, which is Yom Kippur, and mamon is tzedakah. Everybody gives extra tzedakah these days. And the fasting, we have some Gedalia, some people fast all the Aser Yemei Teshuvah, and of course on Yom Kippur everybody fasts. But what about kol? What is this kol? We know that in the Pasuk, it says in the Torah, HaKol Kol Yaakov. We have the power as Jews to change our destiny. Whatever chas v'shalom, there's a gezarah that's not good, we have the destiny, we have the koach to change it from bad to very good. But again, if we take this opportunity in these 10 days, and we're hanging in the air, yeah, chatzi here, half there, 1 foot here, 1 foot there. But if we use our kol to do teshuvah and come back, B'ezrat Hashem will listen to us and give us a better year. Now, who did we learn this from? I heard from Avner Kavaz this Shabbat, incredible example. Out of all the people, we learned how to do kol, of bechi, of crying and teshuvah and shedding tears to come back. Of course, this person that I'm about to talk about did it for the wrong reasons. But we have to listen to the story and see how the benefit that she got and how we're suffering from it today, how on the other hand we could use our power of crying to do teshuvah and also get much more good than this person did. We all know that shofar, there's a machloket, the shofar that we sounded on Rosh Hashanah. We had different machloket, whether the sound is like this and the sound is like that. But Targum Onkelos explains that the sound of the shofar is Yavava. And over there, the sages ask, where does this word come from? And the word comes from none other than a witch. A Gentile witch who wanted to kill all the Jewish people, named the mother of Sisera. We learn from her crying for her son Sisera, who went out to destroy the Jewish people. And Hashem did a miracle and brought us a miracle and saved us from this Sisera, this gorilla, and her mother, his mother, this witch who was looking at the crystal ball to see what's going on with her kid. And she saw that her kid, this Sisera, who was so strong, it says in the pasuk Boshesh Shavo, Boshesh over there, it means 6 hours. There's Durush that there's no war that Sisera went out to that it took him more than 6 hours to finish the job. Meaning he went to the city, he destroyed it in 6 hours and came back. We're not talking about with a plane, F-35, F-16. He went on a horse, he went to the city, he finished the city, and he came back for lunch. He told his mother, I'm going to come back for lunch, 6 hours. But this time, he didn't come back. So the mother answers this witch, this witchcraft, is crying over her son, seeing this blood in the crystal bowl, seeing that her son has died. And she cried she sounded 100 sounds. And for these 100 sounds, we have to blow the shofar 100 times. Why? Because it made such an impact. This voice made such an impact in Shamayim that until today, 3,000 years later, we're still sounding the shofar in order to overcome this witch's crying. That's why we actually blow 101 blows in order to be one extra. We know that 100 is Samech Men, which is the power of Tumah, and Michael is the gematria of 101. We want the power of goodness to overcome the power of badness. But come back to our point over here. We see that emphasis that a woman could be such a witch, could have such a son that wants to kill all the Jewish people. The apple of the eyes of Hashem, and Hashem still says, if the crying is for real, I'll take it into consideration. And that's why until today we have to do this shofar, this 101 sounds to overcome it. Number 2 is we have by Agag Melech Amalek, the father of Hitler, the father of Haman. Amalek, who has no rachamim on the Jewish people. They used to take people in the midbar that were outside of the Anaya Kavod, and they would chop them up in very cruel ways. They came out to make war with us, even though we didn't do anything to them. And the story is told of in the Navi that when Shmuel told the name of Hashem to go and destroy, he told Shaul to go destroy Amalek. Shaul went out and he did rationalize a little bit, which he shouldn't have. Of course, we can't talk about Shaul HaMelech, but this is what is told in the Gemara, that he wanted to say that when I'm killing off Amalek and Shmuel HaNavi is not going to have a part of this. I'm going to bring the icing of the cake, the king, Agag, live for Shmuel to kill him. But unfortunately, when Hashem says something, we have to listen to him. Don't make rationalizations.